Welcome to English Corner. Stay until the end for a quick grammar breakdown of key sentences. Have you ever wondered who invented the idea of a free market, or why we talk about supply and demand like it's some natural law, as real as gravity? These ideas didn't just appear out of thin air. They were carefully thought out, debated, and eventually written down by someone who changed the way the world thinks about money, trade, and government. That someone was Adam Smith, a quiet, bookish professor from Scotland, who ended up shaping the entire modern economic system. Before Smith, people had been thinking about wealth and power for centuries. Philosophers like Plato, Aristotle, and John Locke all had their own theories about money and property. And after Smith came even more economic schools of thought, from the big government ideas of Keynesianism to the free market push of Reaganomics. But there's a reason Adam Smith is remembered as the father of modern economics. His ideas didn't just shift the conversation, they became the foundation for how we understand the global economy today. In 1776, the exact same year America declared its independence, Adam Smith published his most famous work, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations. The timing was no coincidence. Just as America was breaking free from British rule, Smith was arguing that economies, too, should be free from unnecessary government control. Smith wasn't an economist by training. He was actually a professor of moral philosophy and logic. But that's what made his perspective so unique. Didn't just look at numbers, he looked at people, behavior, and ethics. In his book, Smith emphasized the role of labor in creating wealth. He warned against too many government regulations, which he believed could strangle innovation and business. At the same time, he wasn't blindly pro-market. He believed in free trade, yes, but he also admitted that sometimes some restrictions were necessary to protect national interests. He supported low taxes on imports, favored economic stimulus, and was strongly against the old system of mercantilism, the idea that a country's wealth is measured only by how much gold or silver it has. Sound familiar? These debates are still happening today, in newspaper headlines, election debates, and policy decisions around the world. What's truly remarkable is how relevant Smith's work still is. More than 200 years later, we're still using his ideas to make sense of inflation, unemployment, taxation, and trade wars. His words, written with a feather pen in 18th century Scotland, continue to influence presidents, economists, and business leaders alike. And here's something many people overlook. Because The Wealth of Nations came out in the same year as the American Revolution, Smith's thinking also helped shape the way the United States built its own economic system. Even though he never set foot in America, his influence stretched across the ocean and into the minds of the country's founding thinkers. So, the next time you hear someone talk about the invisible hand of the market or debate whether governments should interfere in the economy, remember it all goes back to Adam Smith, a man whose quiet, thoughtful writing changed how the entire world thinks about money. Before we go, let's take a quick look at some useful English grammar from today's story. 1. Had been thinking. Past perfect continuous tense. Before Smith, people had been thinking about wealth and power for centuries. Explanation. This tense shows that an action, thinking about wealth and power, started before a specific time in the past and continued up to that point. Example. She had been studying economics for years before she finally understood Adam Smith. 2. Not just, but also, emphasizing contrast. He didn't just look at numbers, he looked at people, behavior, and ethics. Explanation. Used to highlight two related ideas, where the second is often more important. Example. The Wealth of Nations is not just a book, it's a blueprint for modern economics. 3. Sound familiar? Conversational question. Sound familiar? These debates are still happening today. Explanation. This is an informal way to engage the listener. It drops the subject. Does that sound familiar? For a more casual tone. Example. Rising prices, slow wages. Sound familiar?